What if I told you? Long before a woman cheats, she leaves behind invisible clues, like silent echoes in a quiet room, hoping you will never notice. Most men don't. Not because they're foolish, but because they're in love. Because they're hopeful. Because they're clinging to a version of her that no longer exists. But what if you could see through the illusion before it all crashes down? What if you could read the signs and save yourself from emotional devastation? Welcome to a brutal truth grounded in female psychology and sharpened by Stoic wisdom. Watch closely. This isn't just a list, it's a mirror. And if you're thinking, my girl would never, you might want to sit down. She might already be the leading lady in this very story. Sign 1. Emotional distance doesn't scream, it fades quietly. In Stoicism, detachment is a strength. But in relationships, when emotional warmth turns cold without explanation, it's not a virtue, it's a red flag. She doesn't ghost you overnight. It begins with subtle changes. Her texts lose their warmth. Conversations become mechanical. The playful compliments, the shared laughter, the little gestures, all disappear. Like a sunset slowly fading into darkness. She's in the room, but her soul isn't. She avoids your gaze. Her smile feels forced. You're not imagining it. Emotionally driven by nature, a woman's heart often exits long before her body does. And to justify crossing that line, she distances herself, to numb the contradiction between who she is and what she's doing. She's not just tired. It's not Mercury retrograde. It's detachment, laced with guilt. Psychologically, when someone emotionally checks out, it's because their attention, their emotional energy, is already invested elsewhere. And once that need is fulfilled by someone new, you begin to feel like an obligation instead of a connection. Sign 2. Her time turns into a labyrinth. Suddenly, her schedule becomes impossible to follow. Late meetings, random girls' nights, endless errands that take forever. You ask, how was your day? And get vague answers like, nothing special. Here's the thing, cheaters don't always lie directly. They reshape time. They bend details. They give you just enough normal to keep you from asking more questions. She might say, my phone died. Or I just needed space. But those are placeholders, not answers. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, appearances are impressions, not facts, but they often foreshadow the truth. So when she tells you she spent 3 hours at Target and comes home empty-handed, maybe she wasn't fighting over shampoo, maybe she was fighting guilt. They craft believable stories with just enough plausibility to bypass your suspicion filter. But when privacy becomes obsession. Sign 3. Her phone becomes sacred ground. There was a time when her phone was just a phone. Now, it's off limits, locked, flipped down, always with her, never with you. She grins at messages you never see. She shields it like it holds secrets to the universe. You reach for it, and suddenly, she acts like you're trying to detonate a bomb. In female psychology, secrecy often means she's emotionally connected to someone new, even if they haven't crossed the physical line yet. Emotional cheating? It starts with innocent chats, and evolves into digital intimacy that can be far more addictive than the physical kind. Try borrowing her phone, and she turns into a ninja, fast, defensive, maybe even aggressive. Not because you're wrong, but because she has something to lose. A Stoic man doesn't panic. He observes. He stays calm. Jealousy clouds judgment, but composure brings clarity. Sign 4. Gaslighting becomes her weapon of choice. Suddenly, you're the villain in her rewritten story. She accuses you of being too needy, too insecure, too controlling, even though her actions gave you every reason to feel that way. This isn't confusion, it's a psychological power play. She flips the narrative so often, you begin to question your own sanity. You caught her whispering with a coworker late at night, and now you're apologizing? Houdini would be proud. Gaslighting isn't just emotional manipulation, it's psychological warfare. It erodes your confidence. It disconnects you from your instincts. And once that happens, betrayal strikes twice, once from her actions, and again from your own denial. The scariest prison is the one you build in your mind, out of love. Sign 5, over-affection that feels off. She starts showering you with attention, flowers, kisses, love notes, weekend plans. On the surface, it looks like she's rekindling the romance, but something's wrong. The affection feels performative, not organic, not sincere. Why? Because it's guilt-driven, a psychological balancing act. She wants to believe she's still a good person, so she overcompensates to protect her self-image. If I'm being extra sweet, she tells herself, I'm not really a bad person. Don't mistake guilt for love. As Marcus Aurelius said, the closer a man is to the truth, the more clearly he must see through the fog of pleasure. If she went from cold to cuddly overnight, it's probably not growth, it's guilt in disguise. Sign 6, she ends it, or forces you to. The final move is often the most dramatic. She might manufacture a crisis, start constant fights, or suddenly suggest taking a break. She'll accuse you of being the problem. She'll weaponize your insecurities. And eventually, you'll feel like the only way to find peace is to walk away. And that's exactly what she wants. This way, she gets to exit the relationship without feeling like the villain. You take the fall, and she walks away clean. A woman who's emotionally gone will always find a way to leave, physically, mentally, or by pushing you to do it for her. Don't beg. Don't chase. A stoic man stands his ground. He lets go with dignity. He lets his silence say what his pain cannot. So why do men miss these signs? Because love clouds judgment. Because hope filters red flags into rose-colored memories. Because we're taught to silence suspicion, to trust more even when the truth is glaring. Cheaters don't wear horns. They kiss you goodnight. They play the role, until they don't. But Stoicism doesn't teach paranoia. It teaches awareness. It teaches observation without illusion. So ask yourself, are you watching her actions, or the fantasy you've built around her? The truth is always there. If this video helped you see even a glimpse of the truth, do one thing: like, subscribe, share it with a brother who might still be blind to these signs. Because pain teaches, but ignorance destroys. Stay sharp, stay grounded, stay stoic.